The rain fell softly that Tuesday evening, creating gentle patterns on the windows of Robert Morrison's home. At 52, Robert had built a successful life as CEO of Morrison Technologies, but lately, the spacious house felt emptier than ever since his divorce 2 years ago. He was reviewing quarterly reports when he heard it. A small tentative knock at his front door. Robert set down his reading glasses and walked through the marble foyer. When he opened the heavy oak door, he found a little girl standing in the rain. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old. With reddish-brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing a pink floral dress and a thin beige cardigan that was already soaked through. Her eyes were wide with fear and desperation. "Please, sir," she said, her voice trembling. "They hurt my mom. She's dying. Please help us." Robert's heart seized. Without hesitation, he knelt down to her level. "Where is your mother, sweetheart?" The little girl pointed down the street with a shaking hand. "The alley, behind the grocery store. She's bleeding. I ran to find help, but everyone just walked past me." Robert didn't waste another second. He grabbed his coat and umbrella, then gently took the child's hand. "Show me. Quickly now." As they hurried through the rain, the little girl spoke in gasps. "My name is Emma. Those men, they wanted Mom's purse. She tried to protect me. They pushed her and she hit her head." Robert's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice calm and steady. "You did the right thing, Emma. You're very brave. We'll help your mother." They reached the alley behind Miller's grocery. There, slumped against the brick wall, was a woman in her early 30s. Her blonde hair was matted with blood and her face was pale. She was conscious but clearly disoriented. Robert immediately called 911, then knelt beside the woman. "Ma'am, I'm Robert. Help is coming. Can you hear me?" The woman's eyes flickered open. "Emma," she whispered. "Where's Emma?" "I'm here, Mom," Emma cried, rushing to her mother's side. "She's safe," Robert assured her gently. "An ambulance is on its way. Try not to move." He removed his coat and carefully placed it over the woman to keep her warm. The rain continued to fall, but Robert shielded them both with his umbrella, his dress shirt and slacks getting soaked through. Within minutes, sirens wailed in the distance. The paramedics arrived and began their work. As they prepared to transport the woman to the hospital, she gripped Robert's hand weakly. "Emma," she managed to say, "please, don't let them take her away from me. We have no one else." Robert looked into her frightened eyes and made a promise he didn't fully understand yet. "I'll take care of her. You focus on getting better." At the hospital, Robert stayed with Emma in the waiting room. The little girl sat beside him, still trembling, her small hand gripping his larger one tightly. "What's your mother's name?" Robert asked softly. "Sarah," Emma replied quietly. "Sarah Bennett. We moved here 3 months ago. Mom works 2 jobs since Dad left us last year." Robert's heart ached for this child who had already known too much hardship. He bought them both hot chocolate from the vending machine and waited. Hours passed. Finally, a doctor emerged. Sarah had a concussion and would need to stay for observation, but she would recover. The relief that washed over Emma's face made Robert's eyes mist. Over the following days, Robert found himself deeply involved in their lives. Sarah had no family nearby, no close friends yet in their new city. She'd been struggling to make ends meet, working as a waitress during the day and cleaning offices at night. Robert visited the hospital every evening after work. He brought Emma with him, having arranged for his housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, to watch her during the day. He made sure Sarah had everything she needed, quietly paying her medical bills when he learned she had no insurance. When Sarah was discharged a week later, Robert helped them return to their small apartment. What he saw broke his heart. The apartment was barely furnished, with peeling paint and a broken heater. Emma's bedroom was just a corner with a thin mattress on the floor. Sarah noticed his expression and flushed with embarrassment. "It's not much, but it's what we can afford right now." Robert cleared his throat. "Sarah, I have a proposition. My house has 5 bedrooms that sit empty. Mrs. Chen could use help with the cooking and light housekeeping. The position would include room and board for you and Emma, plus a fair salary. Would you consider it?" Sarah stared at him, tears welling in her eyes. "Mr. Morrison, you've already done so much. I can't—" "You'd be helping me," Robert interrupted gently. "That house is too big and too quiet for one person." And honestly, having Emma around, she reminds me what matters in life. My own daughter is grown now, living across the country. I miss having that energy in my home. Emma tugged on her mother's hand. Please, Mom. Mr. Robert has a big TV and he promised to teach me chess. Sarah laughed through her tears. You've already been corrupting my daughter with chess. It's never too early to learn strategy, Robert said with a warm smile. What do you say? Sarah wiped her eyes and nodded. Okay, but I'll earn my keep. I'm a hard worker, Mr. Morrison. I know you are. And please call me Robert. The following Saturday, Robert helped them move their modest belongings into his home. Emma chose a sunny bedroom with yellow walls that overlooked the garden. Sarah's room was down the hall, beautifully furnished and with her own bathroom. As the weeks turned into months, the house transformed. Sarah's home-cooked meals filled the kitchen with warmth and delicious aromas. Emma's laughter echoed through the halls. The three of them fell into an easy routine that felt remarkably like family. Robert taught Emma chess, just as he'd promised. They'd sit by the fireplace on rainy evenings, the board between them, while Sarah read nearby. He helped Emma with her homework, attended her school concerts, and cheered her on at soccer games. For Sarah, Robert became a trusted friend. They'd talk over coffee in the mornings before work, sharing their hopes and fears, their past regrets and future dreams. Robert found himself opening up about his failed marriage and the distance he felt from his own daughter, admitting he'd worked too much and been present too little. It's not too late, Sarah told him one morning. Call her. Tell her what you just told me. Robert did. That conversation with his daughter, Catherine, began to heal wounds he'd carried for years. One evening, nearly 6 months after that rainy night when Emma knocked on his door, the three of them sat in the living room. A fire crackled in the hearth, and Emma was curled up between the two adults, struggling to stay awake. Robert, Sarah said softly, I've been saving money. I'm looking for a place for us. You've been so generous, but we can't impose forever. Robert felt something heavy settle in his chest. What if I don't want you to leave? Sarah met his eyes, and something unspoken passed between them. Something that had been growing slowly, carefully over all those shared mornings and quiet evenings. I don't want to leave either, she admitted. But I don't want to take advantage. You're not, Robert interrupted. Sarah, these past months, you and Emma have brought my life back to color. I'd forgotten what it felt like to come home to warmth and laughter, to be part of something that matters more than quarterly reports and board meetings. Emma stirred between them. Does this mean we get to stay? She asked sleepily. Robert and Sarah both laughed. Were you pretending to sleep, young lady? Sarah asked. Maybe a little, Emma admitted with a yawn. I was hoping you'd figure out you like each other. Sarah blushed, but Robert just smiled. Out of the mouths of babes, he said softly. He looked at Sarah. She's right, you know. I do like you, very much. I like you too, Sarah whispered. They stayed like that, the three of them, watching the fire burn low as the rain tapped gently against the windows. It wasn't the family any of them had planned, but it was the family they'd found. And sometimes, the best blessings come from the most unexpected places. That little girl who knocked on a stranger's door in the rain, desperate and afraid, had changed all of their lives. She'd taught Robert that wealth means nothing without someone to share it with. She'd reminded him that kindness costs nothing but can mean everything.